All right, guys, Katie and I'd like to show you how we made this flag for our local police department. With everything going on in the world today, we just want to make sure that those that are standing in the line for us are appreciated. We'll be giving this to them at the end of this project, and we will take you along for the ride. What we're going to do is we're going to make that flag with what we have here. We got two 8-foot 2x4s. We're going to make 4 cuts at 37 inches long. We will then come over to the table saw and then flush up an end and then cut the slats at about 5/8 thick. It should give us about 4 pieces per board. And that'll give us a total of 16, and we'll use several of those for the pins, supports in the back, so everything will be tied together. But we will be using 2 2x4s, some wood glue, some 1/8 18 gauge brads, our benzomatic torch, our blue wood stain for the blue line, and then what we'll do is we'll seal it. We're going to seal it with this clear glaze from Krylon. I love that stuff. And then at the end we'll put a hanger on it. This one is actually going to be donated to our local police department here in Crum. We just want to show our support for our police and let them know we have their back. So we will jump into this here in just a second. All right, what I got Kaiden doing is he's marking this out at 37 inches, and then he's adding an 1/8, so 37 1/8 for the blade thickness. And then he'll take this out and make another measurement at 74 1/8, which will give us the 2 pieces for this board, and then he's going to do that on the second board. So we're going to set this up and square one of these ends up. We set this up at 32 1/4 because your 2x4 is actually 1.5 inches thick by about 3.5 inches wide. What we're really going to do is just clean up one of these ends. We're going to take the round off that's on your 2x4, and then we're going to come back and we're going to reset the stop at about 5/8, and then we're going to make our rip cuts. So we're going to get this started. All right, we reset the fence to 5/8. We're going to make our cuts. We should get 4 cuts per board. It'll give us a total of 16 cuts for this flag. We're only going to need 13, but we'll use a few of these for the back supports. All right, guys, we got the boards cut. We got 16 boards, so we have 13 for our flag. We got these 3 extra for our slats for the back for the supports. We went ahead and went through these and kind of arranged these how we wanted them. Your first 7 boards are going to be what contains your union. So in the union, you want as little detail as possible, and you want these boards to be fairly tight fitting because it'll make the process of carving your stars a whole lot easier. We went and bought the stencil on Amazon a long time ago. We use this on all our flags that we were doing. Your 8th slat is going to be your thin blue line. It's the one we're going to paint blue or stain blue with our stain. And then every other one of these, starting with the first one being black, you're going to be black, white, black, white, black, white, black, blue, black, white, black, white, black. So your first and your last should be black for this flag. And then again, your 8th one is going to be stained blue for your thin blue line. Now, if you're doing maybe the thin red line for the firefighters, this one would be the one that you do red, or your EMTs and your others. This would be the one that you would do a different color than the rest of that. For this particular flag, We're going to do a really dark burn, and we're going to do a light burn, because I'm not actually going to stain this white. This will be just kind of the color that it is, and then when we carve the stars, it'll be just kind of a light char on that. It'll be a good contrast between those two. I particularly like that look myself, so that's kind of what we're going to do for this flag for our local PD. I went ahead and already marked this off. What I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to take some razor blades, and I'm just going to cut that top grain. It makes the process for, in this case, burning or staining a whole lot easier, especially when you have the contrast between the two on these, between the white and the black, or the blue and the red, or the blue and the white. So it makes that process easier. So what we'll do is get this kind of started, and then we'll go through and show you the burn process as we're going through this. All right, on the union ones, we have the razor blade drove in there for the white slats. What we're actually going to do is we're going to separate what would be the white from the black, because we're going to burn the black a whole lot darker than we are the white, so it's just easier to kind of remember where you're at. We'll also separate what's going to be the blue from that group as well, so we can make sure that we're just keeping everything where we want it in this burn process. So while we're burning these darker slats, we went ahead and stained the blue. It's been on here a little bit. We actually had to mix some white and blue because it wasn't quite the color that we were looking for. So we mixed some white with the blue until we got what we want. This sat on here for a little bit. What you want to do with this type of stains, you're going to want to wipe it off, wipe any excess off after it sits on here just a few minutes. What that's going to do, it's going to prevent it from kind of gelling up and allow this stain to do what it's supposed to do. If you don't wipe it off, you're going to get this stuff to start gelling up. And what we'll do with this after we're done putting this flag together, what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll touch it up with the torch a little bit. Okay, go ahead and get that. All right, guys, day 2. So I had some stuff I had to do last night, and by the time I got back, it was late, and we really didn't want to make a bunch of noise. Kaiden's back in the shop with me today. We're going to finish up the assembly work on this flag. What we have set up right now are the flattening jigs, just so we can keep everything nice and flat. And what we'll do is we'll flip these over and we'll make this side nice and straight and flat because it's going to be the union. We'll put an initial squeeze on here with some clamps, and then we will tighten everything up. And now we're just laying out the stars with our stencil. Doesn't have to be perfect, because all we're trying to do is just get the mark where they're at, so we can makes it easier for us to carve. Alright guys, we just finished laying out the stars. Kaiden laid those out for me while I worked on this part of it. Again, this is for our police department here in Crum. We're going to carve that out. We're going to carve the stars out. That is the next process in this whole thing. And then we will finish it up. Alright, so we finished carving the stars, carving the name on there, carving our trademark, and then I went ahead and I attached a wire hanger to this. I just use a number, I believe it's a number 10 1-inch screw, drill a pilot hole. I'm usually about 5 inches down from the top, and then I use this galvanized steel wire. It's got a 15-pound weight limit on it. For a single strand, it's 20 gauge. But what I do is I'll double this, and then I'll pinch one into my vise. And then one of our paint can openers, I open it up a little bit so I can stick it in my drill, and then I'll twist it. That more than doubles the weight capacity, although this thing probably only weighs roughly 10 pounds, a little bit less than that. But the hanger's on. What I need to do yet on this is I'm going to top coat it, let that dry, and then we'll contact the chief of police and bring this down and present it to them. Again, just wanted to say thank you for all that they do for us.